diversion. That is the point, I think, of a lot of people in the so-called 9/11 community, people who don't say the Bush crime family was physically, hands-on complicit in the attack on this country, but that they were complicit in the fact that they let it happen. There's two schools of thought: made it happen, let it happen. I don't see that much difference. I think it's completely understood that because of our policies in the Middle East for the past 60 years, we have built up an enormous force of enemies out there. Just about every Arab-speaking nation, and some that don't speak Arabic, that are not oil producers, and some that are oil producers, would like to see the United States turn into a smoking crater. Because we have disrespected their culture and their religion. And, it's not for me to say whether their culture or their religion deserves disrespect, except in the context that I say all religion sucks, frankly. But as a diversion, setting up the events of 9/11 by reading the intelligence and then just turning the other way. I mean, that's all it would take, right? Getting the intelligence, like Bush said to the person, I don't know, low-ranking intelligence officer who brought him that warning, and Bush said, "Okay, you can go now. You've covered your ass." I mean, what a flippant statement. Coming from Bush, it was probably just that, a flippant statement. But to the people who manipulated Bush, and he was willing to be manipulated, I'm not trying to paint him as a Ronald Reagan in that regard, but to the people who manipulated Bush, this was it. Here it was. Don't forget what the Project for the New American Century had said years before, after they had attempted to get Clinton to launch an invasion against a couple of countries in the Middle East, and he said no, or not the Middle East, South Asia, and he said no. Their whole scam was that this country needed another Pearl Harbor in order to forward their agenda. Now, a lot of people think the agenda was simply the shoring up of the Israeli military, that if the United States were attacked, this would deep six any efforts on the part of the U.S. diplomatic establishment or military establishment to try to deal with the Palestinians or the Syrians or the Iranians or the Iraqis on some level other than murder, intimidation, slaughter, bombing, so on and so forth. So if you want to really take a look at the situation and just step outside the parameters that we've all been conditioned to believe. I mean, if you've got the interest in doing that, you can do it. And just take a look at the situation. Was the attack on this country, September 11th, specifically as a diversionary tactic to give to the Bush administration supreme power to do whatever they wanted to do, but most importantly, supreme power not to send people into the detention camps here, but to rob the entire world blind. Yeah, let's have an attack. Let's respond with some half-assed bombing of Afghanistan, and then we'll make the real move, the one that we, the neocons, have always wanted, a direct invasion of Iraq, which will give us military bases there, so that if Syria or Saudi Arabia eventually, or Kuwait or Libya or any of these countries ever feel froggy and start to jump towards Israel, then we have a fully equipped military operation already in the Middle East. So, take your pick. There's a whole menu of stuff there. But maybe it was none of that, or maybe that stuff was just afterthought. Maybe the real reason was what we're talking about here. Create a diversion, an attack on this country. 3,000 people die. Yawn. Who cares? Who cares? 3,000 people dead. All right. Go ahead. Get it over with, and let's get to the business, the real business of what this attack's all about. And that is stealing the U.S. Treasury blind, making the rules that the cancellation of the Glass-Steagall Act back in 96, 97, making that all of a sudden extremely profitable for the international predators who were now going to steal everything, every goddamn thing that they could get their hands on, and stuff they couldn't get their... And nobody's going to pay attention because, after all, we're at war, and Bush is handing out directives that say if anybody does anything, that'll be considered an act that can cause you to lose your freedom. We can arrest you. We can detain you. We can hold you without charges. Look, we're doing it here. We're doing it there. Look what we're doing over in Iraq. We're torturing people. Look what, and you know, putting leashes around their necks. Look what we're doing down in Guantanamo. Look what we're doing on Diego Garcia. Look what we're doing all over the world. So shut up, Americans. Just stand perfectly still. We're going to take everything you've got and everything you might have for the next 50 years. This has been the plan for a long time. Ooh. Really? Nah. Not an Ice Cube's chance in hell. Come on, Mike. That is so over the top. That is so incredibly bizarre. You're starting to sound like a buffoon on your own program. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's cool. But it is an idea, isn't it?